In this lesson, we are going to learn about pivot and unpivoting columns in Power Query. First, let us understand when we are going to use pivot and unpivoting functions. Typically, we use pivot function to convert lengthier data into wider data, like shown here. Similar to that, we use unpivot function to convert wider data into lengthier data. Basically, it's a reverse function. With this context, let's get into the system and implement these functions. In this demo, we are using our typical super retailer sales data for exploring pivot and unpivoting columns. But here the sales data is aggregated by chain and category. Now let's do pivot on this one. Currently we have lengthier data with 20 rows. Let's pivot this data into the wider format. In order to pivot the data, select the column based on which you want to create columns, and then also the values column, and then select pivot columns. Now here we have to select based on which we are creating columns. In this case, we are creating more columns based on the category, and the values are going to come from the sales. With this, we have converted the lengthier data into wider data. Now let us do unpivoting columns. As I said earlier, unpivoting will be used to convert wider data into lengthier data. In order to unpivot this data, select a chain column and then unpivot other columns, so that we will be going back to the stage where we were before doing the transformation. So in this case, first column is chain, second column is category, and the third column is sales. This is how we are going to do pivot and unpivot to transform lengthier data into wider data and vice versa. In addition to these two functions, we have transpose function, which is a similar function. Using transpose, we would be completely converting lengthier data into wider data and vice versa. So it's a crude way of doing transformation. Most of the times we would be using either pivot or unpivot only. That's all about all these three functions. I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.